Let's get right into it. Number 12, your brain thinks you're in prison. You might think staying indoors just means being comfy, but your brain disagrees. It thinks you've been locked up. Literally, humans evolved as outdoor creatures walking, hunting, squinting dramatically at sunsets. When you stay inside too long, your brain starts flipping out because the natural cues it expects, sunlight, horizon, wind, distant movement, are gone. No sunlight means no serotonin rhythm, no dopamine reset, no day-night calibration. It's like running your phone on 1% battery and ignoring all the warning pop-ups. Studies on people in windowless offices and submarines show the same thing. After a few days. They lose track of time, motivation, and sometimes reality. The longer you stay indoors, the more your brain starts producing stress hormones like cortisol because it's waiting for sensory input that never comes. You don't see the sunset, so your brain doesn't know when to chill. You don't walk anywhere, so it doesn't release endorphins. It's like your nervous system keeps knocking on your skull like, hey, are we still alive? And the wild part, your brain eventually stops expecting the outside world. It adapts in a bad way. It decides your living room is the entire planet, so every sound, every flicker of light, every tiny inconvenience becomes way more dramatic. A fly buzzing in your room, that's now your predator. So yeah, staying inside too long doesn't just make you lazy, it convinces your brain you're serving a sentence. Except your jailer is Netflix, and the walls are made of Wi-Fi. Number 11, you forget what real colors look like. Artificial light is a liar. Your phone light, your lamp, your monitor, they all give you a filtered version of color. Your eyes are designed to interpret a full spectrum of wavelengths bouncing off natural surfaces. But when you never go outside, your vision system basically starts living in a simulation. Think about it, your walls are white, your furniture's beige, and your screen blasts out this aggressive blue glow. Over time, your visual cortex starts recalibrating it, literally changes how it perceives brightness and contrast. That's why people who stay inside for weeks feel blinded when they finally step out. It's not that the sunlight's too bright, it's that your eyes have forgotten how to handle reality. And here's a freaky twist, your brain ties colors to emotions. Studies show that people exposed only to artificial light start feeling more anxious and fatigued. Nature's greens and blues regulate mood. LED light doesn't. So when your only green comes from a desktop wallpaper of a forest you never visit, your brain doesn't buy it. It's like feeding your eyes fast food every day. Sure, it fills you up, but it leaves you kind of hollow and twitchy. Eventually, you start craving real light the way you crave actual food after too many instant noodles. If your world's palette is beige walls and RGB keyboard lights, congratulations, you've officially downgraded to existence in grayscale mode. Number 10, your body clock goes full chaos mode. There's a reason you can't tell what time it is anymore. When you live inside, your body clock goes rogue. The circadian rhythm, your built-in timekeeper, relies on sunlight to sync your hormones, temperature, and sleep cycles. Without that cue, your internal clock starts freelancing. People who live without daylight exposure tend to stay up later, sleep worse, and feel groggy even after 10 hours in bed. Basically, your body gets confused about whether it's 3 p.m. or 3 a.m. That's why doom scrolling until 4 a.m. feels normal. Your brain thinks the blue light from your screen is morning sunlight. Scientists have done experiments where volunteers lived underground with no sunlight or clocks. Some people's sleep cycles stretched to 25 hours, others to 28. One guy basically invented his own time zone. When you never go outside, you become a malfunctioning robot with no factory reset. You wake up tired, eat at random times, and think caffeine is a personality trait. Your body's like, hey, it's midnight, let's sleep. Your phone's like, no, it's morning in Tokyo, let's watch conspiracy shorts. And your brain, it just gives up and sets the schedule to permanent confusion. Number 9, your immune system gets bored, then weird. When you never touch dirt, breathe outdoor air, or interact with bacteria, your immune system starts acting up like a drama queen with nothing to do. It's built to fight things dust, pollen, random microbes, but when you isolate yourself in an overly sanitized bubble, it turns its energy inward. That's one reason allergies and autoimmune issues have skyrocketed in urban populations. Your immune cells are basically sitting around your bloodstream like, no intruders. Fine, guess we'll just attack the lungs today. There's actually a name for this, the hygiene hypothesis. Kids who grow up playing outside, eating questionable mud pies, or owning pets tend to develop stronger immune systems. Meanwhile, the rest of us are wiping down door handles and wondering why we sneeze every spring like it's a punishment. Also, indoor air is way dirtier than you think. It's full of dust mites, VOCs, and microscopic skin flakes. Yes, from you. So even though you think you're in a clean space, your body's actually being marinated in recycled human debris. The irony, going outside the thing people think makes you sick, is often what keeps you healthy. Sunlight boosts vitamin D, fresh air clears your lungs, and microbes train your immune system. So if you haven't stepped out in days, don't be surprised if your body starts picking fights with your own sinuses. It's just bored out of its microscopic mind. Number 8, you start smelling weird and don't notice. Here's a fun, horrifying fact: your body chemistry changes when you stop going outside. Fresh air isn't just nice, it literally helps regulate the bacteria on your skin. When you're trapped indoors, breathing stale, recycled air all day, your natural odor profile turns into something else. Indoor environments are usually warm, dry, and full of microscopic particles like dead skin, sweat residue, and synthetic fabric dust. That cocktail interacts with your skin microbiome, the invisible layer of bacteria that keeps your body balanced. When you stop exposing it to outdoor microbes, it starts to mutate. Translation: you start smelling off, but your brain adapts so slowly you don't even realize it. It's the biological version of going nose blind in your own apartment. And this isn't just about hygiene, it's chemistry. Sweat produced indoors actually smells different because your body's thermoregulation shifts. Without real temperature variation or air circulation, your sweat glands don't behave normally, which can alter pH and bacterial growth. Ever been outside after days indoors and thought, wow, the air smells too fresh? That's not the air, that's you. So if you've been living in a bubble for weeks and someone politely cracks a window when you visit, they're not being rude, they're surviving. Number 7, you lose spatial awareness. Something wild happens to your brain when you stop navigating the physical world. It forgets how the hippocampus, the part responsible for memory and spatial orientation, needs real-world input to stay sharp. When you only move between the bed, the fridge, and your computer chair, your brain's internal map basically becomes a hallway with snacks. This isn't hypothetical. MRI studies show that people who explore outdoor environments, walking, hiking, even just taking a different route, have larger, more active hippocampi. Meanwhile, chronic indoor dwellers, shrinkage, not the fun kind. And the symptoms creep up subtly. You bump into furniture more, you forget where you left things. Your sense of direction dies so hard that Google Maps becomes your emotional support animal. Outdoor movement constantly challenges your balance and coordination. Every step adjusts for wind, terrain, and light. Indoors, everything's predictable, so your brain stops calculating spatial changes because it doesn't have to. It gets lazy. That's why when you finally go out again, the world feels too big. Your brain's GPS is rusty, trying to render a world it forgot how to process. So if you've ever spun in a circle after walking outside and thought, whoa, everything's spinning too fast, it's not vertigo, it's your hippocampus buffering. Number 6, your social instincts rot away. Humans are social mammals. Our survival once depended on reading faces, gestures, and tone. But when you isolate indoors for too long, your brain starts to lose that calibration. See, social interaction is like a muscle. It weakens when unused. You start misreading micro-expressions or overthinking neutral interactions. A simple hi from your neighbor becomes a psychological Rubik's Cube. Wait, was that sarcasm? Do they hate me? Even video calls don't fix it. Your brain knows a 2D face on a glowing rectangle isn't real. You don't get the same oxytocin release or mirror neuron activity that happens during in-person interaction. That's why social anxiety often increases after long periods indoors. You think avoiding people makes you calmer, but it actually rewires you to find them more intimidating later. Anthropologists call this the social deprivation loop. The less time you spend around others, the more alien people start to seem. Then you isolate more, until even ordering food feels like a boss battle. And eventually, you start saying things like, I prefer my own company, when in reality, your brain's just forgotten how to trust other humans. So yeah, stay inside long enough and you basically turn into a medieval monk, minus the spiritual enlightenment and plus 40 hours of YouTube algorithms. Number 5, you become the mold's roommate. Let's talk about your new housemate mold, because when you never open windows, that moist, still air becomes paradise for fungal spores. The average home's humidity and lack of airflow make it an all-you-can-eat buffet for invisible life forms. You don't see them at first, they're sneaky, but mold spores slowly start colonizing behind furniture, under carpets, or inside your AC unit, and once they move in, they never pay rent. Here's the disturbing part: long-term exposure to indoor mold messes with your brain. It can cause brain fog, memory issues, and weird mood swings. There's even research linking mycotoxins, the chemicals mold releases, to anxiety and fatigue. Basically, if you feel constantly tired and grumpy but can't explain why, it might not be just stress, it might be your drywall poisoning you. Even worse, your immune system doesn't recognize mold spores as invaders right away. It overreacts, triggering chronic inflammation, the biological equivalent of leaving your car alarm on all day. So if you've been living in a sealed, cozy apartment for months, congrats, you might not be alone. You've just been quietly cohabiting with a civilization of fungi plotting your downfall. You thought isolation would give you peace. Instead, you just became a side character in The Last of Us Studio Apartment Edition. Number 4, your mood flatlines. Ever feel like you're emotionally buffering? That's what happens when you stay inside too long. Sunlight triggers your brain to release serotonin, the I can handle life chemical. No sunlight, no serotonin. So your emotional range slowly compresses from excited and alive to meh. It's not just the lack of light, it's the monotony. Your brain loves novelty, even something simple, like seeing a tree sway or hearing birds argue over a French fry, counts as stimulation. Indoors, everything's static. The same walls, the same air, the same reflection of your tired face in the laptop screen. Eventually, your nervous system just gives up on enthusiasm. The days blur together because your brain can't find enough variety to tag memories with timestamps. It's why weeks indoors can feel like one endless grey smear. This is also why seasonal affective disorder (SAD) hits people so hard in winter. Less sunlight means less serotonin, and melatonin balance your sleep suffers, your mood tanks, and suddenly even washing a dish feels like a side quest from hell. There's a reason hospital patients near windows recover faster, and prisoners in solitary confinement start hallucinating. The absence of natural light messes with both your biology and your sense of time. So if you ever wonder why your life feels like it's in low contrast, it's because you're literally running your brain in eco mode. Number 3, you forget how to handle silence. When you're always indoors, surrounded by artificial noise hums, clicks, TikTok sounds, air conditioner drones, your brain gets used to constant stimulation. Real silence becomes alien. Go outside into genuine quiet and you might feel uneasy, even anxious. That's because your brain's baseline noise floor has risen. You've conditioned yourself to need background input, like a fish that panics if the water stops moving. The outdoors, ironically, is one of the only places left where silence has texture. Wind through leaves, distant cars, subtle animal sounds. It's silence that breathes indoors. Silence is dead air, and your mind fills it with mental static, overthinking, intrusive thoughts, anxiety. It's why so many people fall asleep with background shows or podcasts now. Their brains can't downshift to stillness anymore. When you live in a sealed-off environment long enough, you lose your tolerance for quiet, which is tragic because that's where real mental reset happens. Your ancestors used silence to think, to hunt, to rest. You use it to question whether your fridge is haunted. Progress, I guess. Number 2, you start aging faster. Here's something depressing enough to make you want to, go outside immediately. Staying indoors too long literally accelerates aging. Your body relies on sunlight to synthesize vitamin D, which supports everything from bone health to DNA repair. Without it, cells age faster, immune response weakens, and inflammation rises. Scientists call this inflammaging, which sounds fake but absolutely isn't. And remember mitochondria, those little powerhouses of the cell your biology teacher obsessed over. They depend on proper light exposure to regulate energy production. Deprive them of natural light, and your cells go into sluggish mode. You feel tired, you heal slower, and your skin starts losing elasticity faster than it should. Meanwhile, all that indoor blue light wrecks your melatonin and collagen production, so while you're avoiding the sun to protect your skin, your monitor is quietly giving you the digital equivalent of crow's feet. There's even emerging evidence that indoor living messes with telomeres, the protective caps on your chromosomes that determine how long cells can replicate, shorter telomeres, faster biological aging. So yeah, staying inside may keep you safe from sunburn, but it's also quietly turning you into a vintage version of yourself. SPF 50 can't save you from a life lived under LEDs. Number 1, your sense of reality distorts. Spend enough time indoors, and you start to lose your grip on what's real. Not dramatically, you're not hallucinating unicorns, but your perception of the world shifts. Indoor life creates a feedback loop of artificial control temperature set, lighting constant, every sound filtered. You start expecting the world to behave like your living room stable, predictable, always on your terms, but the real world isn't like that. It's chaotic, vast, and humbling. When you re-enter it after a long time, everything feels too loud, too bright, too alive. That's not the world being overwhelming, it's your nervous system being undertrained. Psychologists call this sensory narrowing. When your environment becomes too uniform, your brain starts processing less information, and your worldview shrinks to match it. You stop thinking in big scales of seasons, stars, cities, other humans, and start living in loops of micro-interactions. That's how people lose their sense of awe, and without awe, your imagination, empathy, and creativity all take a nosedive. So yes, staying inside too long might protect you from mosquitoes, but it also quietly detaches you from the planet you evolved to live on. The longer you stay disconnected, the smaller your world becomes until one day, the universe outside your window feels like another planet entirely. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.